Hello everyone and welcome to a new episode of the pre-searing Grail, which is a series where we try to get every single item in pre-searing. Last time I did a bunch of char runs and I didn't plan to return to char runs in this episode, but wouldn't you know it, Footman Tate got lost in the Northlands again. Every time we rescue him, he just comes right back, so I start to think he's doing this on purpose. Anyways, I decided for the hell of it to clear the altar on the way to Mr. Tate and not pick any drops. So let's see what we got here. We got a blue die, we got an Axe Fiend armor, a char bag, but we already had that, another Axe Fiend armor, and a purple battle axe. Here's a quick scroll through the chat to prove that I didn't just drop this from my inventory. Let's pick all this up and identify and hope for a couple free slots. So let's start with opening this hidden stash. We got a whole bunch of nothing. Now when it comes to the items, the blue die is new for sure, so I will mark it here in a second. And let's identify our two armors, Anchorite with Vitae. I have a little bit of feeling we have both of those. Let me check. Let's see the browser. Anchorite. We already have that, and we already have the Vitae, so let's go back to Guild Wars, identify the second one. Bone Lace with Vitae. Bone Lace. We didn't have that, so that's a new one. And let's already mark the blue die here as well. And now for the purples, let's mark the Battle Axe, the purple Battle Axe. That's now marked. Back to Guild Wars, and let's identify, as is tradition, no char slaying. So I'm gonna turn back Mr. Tate to the authorities, and we're gonna do something else this episode, and I hope you'll enjoy. And what we will be doing today has less to do with the spreadsheet and more with the general upkeep of my pre-searing activities. You see, this inventory spot is empty, and it always houses some honeycombs, which I double click every time I go do a daily quest. They give me a 10% morale boost, which translates to close to 60 hit points, and I like not dying, so I do that every single time. Thankfully, honeycombs, among other things, can be found in the gifts of the Huntsman. These are given by this friendly lad over here, Nicholas Sandford, in exchange for some creature products and other stuff we can find. The good news is, I have a bunch of the gifts we can open. We will be doing that later, so I can immediately refill on some honeycombs. That's the good news. The bad news is we don't have many more creature products, so if I want to keep getting the presents, and you can get 5 every day, we need to get to grinding. And the good of the bad news is, after the first clip, 3 weeks have passed, and today is 25th of July, which means that the Wintersday in July has started, and we will be getting additional drops while farming. And while they won't amount to much, it's always a little bit of a dopamine rush when you get that fruitcake or a tonic, so that's what we are going to do. One more important thing to note before we fully start is that I not only turn the creature products in on this character, but also on an alt, which means that we do get 10 gifts every single day, with the downside being we need twice as many creature products, and my alt's inventory right now is atrocious, so we need to do double the amounts of grinding, since I can only grind them on one character at the same time, unless we count baked husks, but I've made a video on that if you're curious. I'm also genuinely curious what's your favorite Nick item farm, so comment down below. And I'm asking mostly because for me it changed like 180 degrees, so maybe that's the case for you guys as well. Before I played this ranger, I mained a necromancer / elementalist, and what I would do entire day, I would go near Fort Rannick to those scale, and I would group them up and I would firestorm them down, and that's what I would do all day. I don't know, I just loved it, but that made me have an exuberant amount of scale fins, and now as a ranger I don't really have many of those. Yeah, like 17 and not many more on the alt. But the one farm that I really hated to do on the Necro is what you're looking at right now, the Icy Elementals. I just despise this farm, probably because flaring them down is very annoying, but as a ranger you just boop them one shot with the preparation. And now this is actually my favorite farm. It went from the most hated one to my favorite. Also, the scenic route around the tower is not what I usually do. I usually just go straight for the tunnel and clear a little bit after the tunnel. And I also always do what you saw at the start of those clips. I turn left and I clear the 3 earth elementals that, the stone elementals that walk down from the shrine. I don't know why, it's probably superstition. I hope it helps me with the anti-farm code. Ooh, a lodestone. So yeah, what I usually do is I just exit the zone, go kill those 3 stone elementals, and then I rush for the tunnel that you can see right there that we're heading towards now. I open the stash. There's always a stash either at the tunnel or shortly after it. And then I clear the elementals that are after the tunnel near one of the spawns of Farmer Hamnet. And then I reset. And it's a very, very pleasant farm, very easy. And I always struggled to have the icy lodestones, but now sometimes I just find myself doing this farm for pleasure, so I usually have plenty. That being said, now I actually don't have many of those, so we will be doing this for quite a long time, and you know what? I'm really happy because, as I said, this is definitely my favorite one. So while I'm out here grinding, I wanted to once again thank Stans for finding yet another item that was missing from the spreadsheet. This time it's a variant of an earth staff. Speaking of earth staffs, they can apparently drop in 2 different skins in Pre-Searing, which is Core and Obsidian. And we already differentiate for other items in the spreadsheet like Warhammers and Canes, so it only felt fair to include this variant as well. So I already fixed that in the public spreadsheet, link in the description if you'd like to take the challenge yourself, and in my private spreadsheet, so this should be good to go. Now it's a little bit of a shame that it had to be an elementalist staff, because as I explained in one of my past episodes, they can only be dropped by Jaw Smokeskin in the purple variant, but yeah, we will persevere. The challenge just got a tiny bit harder now. So yeah, once again, thanks to Stans, and he said that he noticed because he actually started the challenge himself, so if you'd like to take the challenge yourself, as I said, link in the description for the spreadsheet, and please let me know if you do, because I find it extremely cool if somebody steps up, and let me know how it goes, if you manage to finish it, or if you don't, just let me know of the progress. Even though that's not the main goal right now, we still can get something for the spreadsheet. Here's a green dye. Another cool find. Here's a blue-white river. There we go. That's the last icy lodestone we need for a full stack. Let me pick this up. 250, which means we will be getting out of this place. I also got a bunch of enchanted lodestones, a little less than the ices, but there are multiple places where you get enchanted. I actually had 180, well, I would have had, but I spent 50 on the gifts today, so you get quite a lot of those. And you also get enchanted lodestones when you're farming Grail necklaces or unnatural seeds, so we will be maxing this stack, I'm pretty sure. Before we can move on to our next Nick item grind, I was told that a certain Mutiny needs whooping, so it's time to open those 500 gifts of the Huntsman that I have stacked, get some honeycombs, and then we will be ready to go. Opening done, here's the entire loot, and if you're curious, that comes out to 1275 drunkard points, 1160 festive, and 1035 sweet points, including honeycombs. We've freed the realm from the beast, so it's time to celebrate with my 1000 XP and consuming all of this so I can get back my inventory space.
This will be the last one, I promise, okay? With you, let's go.
The next thing we're gonna farm is dual carapaces. Now, no matter how you slice it, these aren't the fastest to obtain, so what I like to do when I need to get them is to go through a route that touches on as many hidden stashes as possible. We start here in Ascalon. make our way to the River Drake and this patch of it. There also should be a red iris flower somewhere nearby. I already picked it up, and a hidden stash. Then we enter the Devourer Cave. This is the place where we get the majority of our dual carapaces from, and also there are 2 hidden stashes. Instead of teleporting, I ran out since more Devourers spawn after we enter the main chamber. Then I make my way to the Regent Valley portal, and once I'm inside, I just clear everything up until the Melandro statue. Now, since this was a rezone, this is technically a new area. Well, not technically, actually. We don't get any loot at the start since the anti-farming code kicks in. So you lose a fair bit of loot from those initial Devourers, but there's nothing really you can do. Blue Shining Mall. Here's another cool drop, a silver die, which means that we only need 2 dies to finish the entire miscellaneous section. And a purple die, which means that we only have black to go. And after some time I'm done with the dual carapaces too, so that's our second stack finished, but the event is actually drawing to a close soon, so I want to rapid fire a couple more locations just to get like 50 of each item. So we will be doing scales now. I actually think I can get more than 50 of those. So I think it's a good time to whip out a monk build, which I very rarely do on this character. We will be AoEing them down. I got whatever stuff I found on my Necro just for this purpose. And the main strategy will be just bowling them down, standing next to them and casting Symbol of Wrath. And then they should quickly die. And after we wait here a little bit and kill those 2 scales that wander around the Resurrection Shrine over there, that should unlock our full loot potential, so that should be swell. And I've got 100 fins, so that should be enough for now. And the last place I want to grind at is the Green Hills County, and we're here for the Unnatural Seeds and for Grail necklaces. Actually, you can grind those 2 things in multiple places, but this is the one I'm going for right now. And after you go from Baradin's estate through this bridge, you can either turn left towards Grail's and Eloise, or go straight forward towards the Earth Elementals. So the rule goes as follows: if you need the Grail and Eloy creature products, which are the necklaces and the unnatural seeds, you actually want to go forward to the elementals, so you clear them first and get rid of the anti-farming code. And vice versa, if you need the enchanted lodestones, you go to the Grails first, clear them. Behind there you can make a loop around and you finish about at the same spot. So the mob you kill second is actually what you should get the most loot from. No matter which side you started at some point you will end up at this road. For me it was roughly this route that I took. And at this road, you either, if you need more enchanted lodestones, you can go forward to this heart. That's assuming you started at Grail's. You will be able to go inside, clear all of the earth elementals that are inside, and then there are convenient places that you can get most of the monsters. But right now we are interested in Grail's, so I will kill the couple that are here on the road, and then I will be going further forward, and we should end up right next to the Baradin's estate. One last thing I'd like to note is that this grind route works for me right now for what I need, because I don't only need Grail necklaces and the unnatural seeds, but I also want to finish up getting some enchanted lodestones. But if for some reason you don't care about enchanted lodestones, then this route might not be for you. But there are thankfully many more places where LO seeds and Grails are found. You can do some rounds in Regent Valley, you can get some unnatural seeds and necklaces there, or you can just do char runs. There are a couple Grails and oak cards in there too, so you will get these as well. A little slower, but then you have the added benefit of doing char runs at the same time, so it's always a balancing act between what else you'd like to get while farming Nick items. And I think I'm done for now. The event is only a week long, so that only gives me so much time to farm Nick items, but we still made some pretty good strides. Max stacks of dual carapaces, icy lodestones, and a lot of enchanted lodestones, plus a little bit of everything else. We didn't venture into catacombs this time, and we didn't farm stuff like spider legs or worn belts, so there is still a lot to do. So I think in one of the future episodes of this series I will go back to farming Nick items just so we can stock up on some more of those, maybe when there's another event. But for now, thank you everyone for watching. This episode wasn't really focused on getting our spreadsheet slots, but we still got quite a few, a couple blue weapons and a couple dice. It's pretty exciting that we only need one black die to finish the entire miscellaneous section. But for now, thank you everyone for watching. I hope you had a wonderful day. I hope I see you in the next one. One last thing, I almost forgot. This is everything we got for the event drops, about 40-45 of fruitcakes, eggnogs, and snowman summoners, and a very low amount of tonics. So I will do as is tradition and spam snowman summoners in Ascalon. And I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope I see you in the next one. Goodbye.